Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special hour that's coming to you live where you have a chance to explore coming to Peru on a journey of a lifetime. And I say that truly without any exaggeration because I've been on 4 of these journeys now and I've heard about the one that I missed. And what is really true is that we have created something that's very unique in the world. It's a combination of the deep ancestral wisdom, the magic, the lineage of Peru is deep, it is powerful, and it is an initiation into a higher level of consciousness. And we've combined that with working with sacred sites like Machu Picchu and working with plant medicines in a traditional way that creates a kind of field of love that is really unparalleled. People, the last one I went to in December, they commented it was like visiting the future where humanity has evolved to a state where we can all truly love and embrace each other. And there's something about journeying together in a sacred container with really beautiful guides and music that uplifts and empowers and chance to go deep into healing journeys that bonds people at a level that I've just never witnessed in any other format of a sacred journey before. So we're going to talk this next hour about the next sacred journey that is coming up, and this is all at the URL sacredperujourney.com. The backstory is that we were connected with Puma Quispe Singona in 2021, I think, and it was just perfect timing for him to come out with this lineage teachings that he'd been really transmitted or received from a very young age, and that the world was hungry for, and people very much responded. And he's planted a seed that, oh, you should bring a trip to Peru. And then we were doing a call, and I got the strong guidance in connecting with the spirit of ayahuasca that we needed to activate a trip on a short-term horizon, and we did. And so things have led to things very quickly. And what has become more evident over time is that there is a sacred role for Peru, and particularly the Sacred Valley, that has to do with activating, empowering, blessing a collective shift in consciousness. And there's something that's so exquisite about the mountains and the sites and the culture that really come together to create something extraordinary. So what we found is there's so many people who have dreamed of going to Machu Picchu or have dreamed of going to Peru, but it is never quite lined up in exactly the right way, or it felt too touristy, or it felt like not just powerful enough. And so people tend to get drawn to this trip when they say they want not just a trip, they want a sacred journey into themselves, into a higher octave of being. And we're going to explore all the dimensions of that in different ways. But I just kind of want to set a little bit of that context of how much it's blessed me, how much has been a source of healing and guidance for leading shift, and how much has been a blessing to be connected to Peruvian family and amazing sound healers. And so we're going to talk about all these things today. And with that said, I just want to bring on Puma Quispe Singona, who's our medicine man and inspiration and soul brother and primary guide for this journey. So Puma, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Steven. Very happy to be here, my wonderful family, my wonderful community. Blessings from this land, from our sacred Andean mountains of Chinchero, Peru. I wanted to light up the tobacco and send powerful blessings for each one of you. Wishing you and always hoping that you are in good health, very happy, and that you are fulfilling your sacred mission here on Mother Earth in the most beautiful ways and also in the most effortless ways. Very happy to be here and share with you this magic, the beautiful energy of this land, and share about this beautiful journey that is being prepared as a cosmic program. We always say whatever we do for these journeys is only a complementary and a referential part of the journey. The cosmic program always takes over and brings so much more magic.
For folks who haven't gotten to study with you or know you yet, I wonder if you could share a little bit about your background and training from a young age with your grandfather, and how that is a lot of what we're receiving is a sort of a direct transmission of a much longer lineage.
Thank you so much, Stephen. I am very ancient lineage keeper. I'm a carrier of this ancestral medicine. Thanks to my grandfather, who started training me since the age of 6. For him, there was no longer anybody who could train. And at this time, I was hit by lightning and survived. And so that was a sign for my grandfather to start passing on these millenary traditions as a way of stories, ceremonies, rituals. And so for me, it started very early, and it was always like playing, moving powerful energies, connecting with Mother Earth and her powerful forces, connecting with sacred ancestral lineages, was beautiful ceremonies and rituals that I received from my grandfather. And so I grew up, and I learned to make of this a passion and a beautiful part of my life and the path of my life. Now this is opening up for the whole planet. So we are always opening these sacred altars and these sacred traditions for our whole global family, for our whole global community. Because already back then in the 90s, my grandfather used to say that our healing work was to be a global healer, and that we needed to support the healing process of our whole global family. Back then, I did not understand. And as our dear Stephen said, already since 2021, thanks to Shift opening up these powerful portals of technology, I'm able to reach out to the whole global family, global community, sharing these sacred traditions in this way, and have had the honor of leading wonderful, amazing, powerful retreats with our Shift community and facilitators and team. And it has just been, we always say, one step prepares us for the next. So it just keeps getting better and better all the time. So with big excitement, with a lot of gratitude and lots of happiness, I am already welcoming and looking forward to this epic journey we're going to have.
I'm wondering if you could share a little bit. I know there's so much to share about all the different sacred sites, but maybe touch upon a little bit of Machu Picchu and maybe another site, and how there's a way of engaging these sites which is beyond tourism. It's really about establishing kind of a sacred reciprocity with these ancient portals for initiation.
For us, Machu Picchu is a very powerful ancient altar, and it was built in the shape of a condor. And because it was built of white granite, which was 60% quartz, 20% mica, and 20% silica, it is literally a crystal condor. For our ancestors, it was a big privilege to be able to be on this mountaintop and take off on a powerful life journey and spiritual journey, not only for the rest of our lives, but also even beyond and after our life here on Mother Earth. The crystal condor represented powerful initiation to sacred healing work, sacred service, to anything that we wanted to make a powerful purpose here on Mother Earth. Because we are here to make big things happen. We're here to be part of cosmic projects. We're here to be of great service. And all of these initiations used to happen in Machu Picchu. The condor represents the leader of all winged ones here in the Andes, is the highest flying bird on the planet. So being on this mountain represented initiations to the best art of living, the art of healing, and experiencing life in absolute leadership and sacred service. The condor always sees everything from above. So when you're in Machu Picchu, you look down into the valley, 800, 700 meters below, and all you see is communities, all you see is the families that are around. And this represents the bigger vision of the condor. So Machu Picchu is a very important place, very important center of our retreat, is where we receive a lot of initiations. It's very important that when we go there, we go in a ceremonial way so that we can access to a lot of the hidden magic that it's there, because in every stone we touch and different parts of Machu Picchu that we visit, we're receiving powerful healing, we're receiving the transmissions of ancestral prayers and blessings that was left even, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. We believe Machu Picchu is not completely Inca, it's definitely pre-Inca. We keep finding evidence of pre-Inca presence in the sacred archaeological diggings that they do. So it's very ancient, it's very powerful. And this part of the Andes is reflecting what we used to believe, so above, so below, a very important constellation, perhaps the most important constellation of the Inca civilization, which is the Southern Cross constellation. Because of this constellation, Machu Picchu is there, and it's the sacred cross that in the Andes used to represent the sacred geometry. The vertical line of the cross was the cosmic father, sacred time. The horizontal line of the cross was the sacred space, cosmic mother. And we are all living thanks to our father and our mother, ever always in a sacred time and a sacred space. So this was the origins, this was the source of a lot of the wisdom and sacred cosmovision of our ancestors. Then we have the Sacred Valley, which is where we're mostly centered. In this place, we visit the sacred tree of life, Ollantaytambo. This is a pre-Incan center of the Tiahuanaco and the Wadi pre-Incan cultures. And they were all about astronomy. They were all about ancient technologies and advanced wisdom and knowledge about life here on Mother Earth. The whole place is an astronomical observatory. It was built in the shape of a tree of life. And we're always the fruits of this sacred tree of life. You receive initiations to your best healer, to your best leader in this place. It's the one place where they personified the sun at a mountain so that they could have the cosmic father more present, because you could have the sun only during the day, but the moon was there with her children day and night. So this is the temple of the never rising, never setting sun, because this sun on the mountain you can look at during the day, but you could also look at it in the midnights. So it's a very special, powerful places that carry and maintain the prayers of our ancestors. They are always available for us to access in a ceremonial way. Powerful portals that you can't find in the books. It's not in the regular archaeological studies of this land. So we visit a lot of these places in a unique way, very conscious of where we're entering and what we can receive. So in that sense, these journeys become very special. It was always my passion to show what was hidden for most people. Ever since I was a kid, I used to take to the most cool, to the most secret places, even in my village. So I like doing that when we go to these temples.
Well, it's amazing what you reveal. I mean, I just this last time got to go through Machu Picchu more in depth with you, and it was so revelatory and amazing. I want to also invite you to share a little bit before we're going to bring on Christine Stevens, talk a little bit more about the sound healing dimension of this special trip, March 10th to 19th next year. I want to ask you about working with plant medicines in this sacred traditional way. I mean, you're one of the few people that has really had long-term training and initiation to lead ceremony with both ayahuasca, which sources from the Amazon originally, and wachuma, which originally from the North Coast, but both are very powerful Peruvian lineages of working with psychedelic plant medicines that have a spirit behind them and that create extraordinary healing. And I know there's been such this big surge of interest in psychedelics in the kind of modern world, but these have like thousands of years behind them, and they are so powerful to be held in a really beautiful way. And something like 70% of the people who've been on the trips haven't experienced working with them before, and they just have incredible healings and breakthroughs. So love for you to just share a little bit about what your experience of working with these medicines and why that's such a beautiful part of this journey.
I am a carrier of a lineage of the Shipibo land through my teacher of ayahuasca, whom have trained me in the arts of working with this ancestral medicine. Originally, it was not part of my path because I live up here in the mountains, but the medicine literally forced me into the Amazon and introduced me to this amazing lineage. And lineages like this one of our medicine, there are a few, some of them still living in the Amazon basin, in what we call the virgin Amazon areas where a lot of people can't access. And they're usually kept in secret. They're maintained in secret from the people from even other villages, and definitely for most of us from other communities. So I carry this sacred lineage of the medicine. I believe ayahuasca is a very ancient spirit, conscious, intelligent, powerful spirit that has been in the process of evolution and awakening of human consciousness for thousands of years. People always benefit from having a communion with this plant spirit. And in a sacred space, in the way we have worked with this medicine from these traditions, even more powerful. And we always make sure that as ayahuasqueros, we're guardians, we're protectors of sacred space, and that people have a direct communion, direct connection with the spirit of the medicine so that they can have a personal experience rather than through the shaman or through the traditions even. This spirit is here to support, the fast, accelerated awakening processes of humanity. And I also am blessed to carry the tradition of wachuma from the north. This is the powerful plant spirit that was also present for thousands of years in the pre-Incan cultures of the coast of the Moche, Mochica, Nazca, Paracas, Chavin people. There were thousands of years of powerful communion with these plant spirits. And these traditions were maintained alive thanks to it being called San Pedro, because Saint Peter is the one who holds the keys to heaven in the Catholic tradition. So once it was baptized like that, it facilitated for this plant to be alive in the traditions and the customs of our people. Both of these powerful plants bring to us a lot of blessings, a lot of healing, a lot of initiations, a lot of clarity. And in the traditions that I have learned, mostly through a process of love, through a process of communion with Mother Earth, through a process of joy and happiness, without having the difficult, hard processes that sometimes come up with protocols, with limitations, and even belief systems around working with these plants. Like one of them could be, often when you work with these plant spirits, you're not supposed to drink any water, even during the ceremonies. But part of my tradition allows us to make sure that we are hydrated, or you could have the hardest and most difficult dehydration processes when you work with these plant spirits. So those are one of the ways in which we have a much deeper communion and a much more powerful journey with these sacred master plants that are a very important, essential part of our retreat. Many people, when they come, they work with these plant spirits, even just with the spirit, when they don't experience physically, the actual brews that we prepare.
Mm. So excited. I just love everything about this trip. I mean, it's been such a blessing to go to 4 of them now. I want to bring in and start talking about the special theme for March 10th to 19th next year, which is around sound healing. And we're really blessed that one of our most luminous teachers, uplifting presence, wonderful soul, she's a speaker, author, and music therapist, Christine Stevens, is going to get to join us for this March 10th to 19th trip next year. And so, Christine, I'd love you to just bring you forward and say hi. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Stephen and Puma. Boy, am I excited to be part of taking a group, just being in that community of people that choose a sacred retreat is in and of itself part of the medicine of this journey. And I know I'm looking forward to being on that adventure.
Mm. Well, so much of there's so much beautiful music that we include in sound healing ceremonies with Tita La Rosa, and
Yes.
there's a lot of opportunities to really use sound as a portal to our deeper self and to awakening and healing. I'd love for you to share a little bit about that from your perspective, and then Puma, we can hear more about how sound healing instruments are part of the ceremonial traditions that you've been raised in.
Well, I'm so happy to meet you, Puma. I feel in many ways the mountain that I live near in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, the Grand Teton, knows your mountains in the Andes because we often say that those peaks are holding that higher consciousness. And I've been blessed to live in that kind of mountain valley energy at the Snake River in Wyoming in Jackson Hole for the past 4 years. So specifically to talk about sound healing. Well, I mean, this is the drum that I bought 35 years ago when I didn't think I had rhythm. And, now I make a living as a drummer. So we know that everyone has music in them. And what we find when we travel is we hear the sounds of the Amazon, the sounds of different birds. That is already the healing, is nature's singing to us. And when we step into that environment of a living lineage, is of so generous of Puma to, bring us into this community. It's very different than tourist. It's an immersive experience of ceremony. And as many musicians, even myself, we play our music and we love to improve and learn different rhythms. I'm looking forward to that on this trip. We will certainly be learning rhythms and songs. What I think is most important to me in sound healing is ceremony, ceremonial sound, the use of the drum to call in the energies that you wish to bring in your life, or to use the flute to reach upward and the drum to reach into the roots. And I always feel that the tree is that the rooting of the drum, which really comes from the bottom parts of the tree. And then the flute, which comes from the branch, which is the direction of the upward. And when you were talking about the cross, I really have felt for a long time, and you look at sacred cultures, there's a drum and a flute, and the bumbo and the pan flute, and in native culture, the native drum and the Native American flute. And this to me is also that connection of above, as above, so below. And so we will be also meeting Tita La Rosa. I haven't met him yet, but I've known Renee Jenkins, longtime student of Tito's, and love his work. You're going to get to experience sound healing from a different perspective with sounds and instruments that you might not have been familiar with, many of them made from the elements of the earth. And I would just like to end that by offering a blessing to all of you in this call, in this moment. And we have many flute students and drum students through the Shift Network and their friends and family that I really want to call to come with us. And I like to bring and travel with this double flute. The double chamber flute for me represents one part of it is the melody that moves and changes and runs and adventures and gets to go to Machu Picchu and experience that aspect of adventure. And then the other side is the stable note. It's the combination of your essence and then being on adventure and coming back to your essence. So in that thinking I want to offer this. And that's just my invitation to come and let the sacred sound and sights and shamanic wisdom of Peru, offered to us so generously through Puma, well-held community space, to come and ignite that kind of sacred ceremonial communication through sound and healing. So I hope you'll join us.
Beautiful offering, Christine. And I was just, you always uplift everything. And so it's going to be amazing to see you with the whole Puma and his extended family and tribe is just awesome. So Puma, I'd love for you to share a little bit about sound healing from your lineage and tradition, because that's something we really have woven in very deeply into the fabric of this trip with some of the most amazing bands around, traditional instruments. Tito, just share a little bit about how sound creates a landscape for transformation in this journey.
For us, sound vibration and sound frequencies was fundamental for our lives. Literally in everything that we do, we always dance our way through life. And we dance our way to fulfilling our soul purpose and our mission here on Mother Earth. Our ancestors used to use these sound frequencies in their chisels with different metal alloys, so that whenever they would hit specific rocks, they would cut them either in straight lines or concave, convex angles, because these sounds were mastered by our ancestors. They used to use the conch shells, 100, 200 conch shells could literally take the molecular weight of these 70, 100-ton weighing rocks, and with the help of a pivot, they could move it to the mountaintop. And they used to believe that a lot of these huge stones used to dance their way to become part of temples, to become part of pyramids, to become part of sacred altars. So that legacy is still alive here in our culture. And we have still the privilege and the honor of having masters like Tito La Rosa, who have lived a lifetime of exploring into these ancient instruments, the frequencies and the sounds that bring us back to our higher self, to our highly evolved consciousness, to that absolute well-being. Like we have heard this flute today from Christine. I was actually not listening to it only for me. I was actually sending those sounds to my sons, to my family, because it's powerful healing energy that when we can direct it, when we can share it, it can produce powerful healing on the planet. And we have the honor, we have the privilege of having powerful masters like Christine, Tito La Rosa, Wiñay Pachtaking, and everybody who comes also creates this beautiful alchemy, because everybody brings a certain frequency. Everybody brings a certain vibration of these sounds that become part of an alchemy for the whole community, for the whole circle. So we are blessed. We are always grateful that this art throughout the planet is more than ever alive right now. The sounds of different parts of our planet are coming back together to heal the collective energy of a planetary process. So for us, these sacred sounds are still alchemy, are still cosmic energy, and still powerful healing that are going to help and support our whole global family in their healing process, in their awakening process, but most importantly, making essential of our life here on Mother Earth. We need to dance our way through life. We're very busy being stressed. We're very busy battling against processes, conflicts, crises, struggles. And when we dance, suddenly everything is uplifted into those high frequencies of love, of light, of vitality. So we're very blessed with these sacred sounds. And in this retreat, we are actually spoiled because we have the best of this sound medicine and sound alchemies.
Well, let's, I know we're going to open to some questions and from folks who would like to ask those. But first, let's go through some of the logistics of the trip that we haven't covered. So again, the whole program is laid out at sacredperujourney.com. And it's going to be March 10th to 19th, which is a 10-day arc, and it's really been carefully designed. I'll say that the first one needed some refinement because we had various things that were more challenging. It was a beautiful trip, but it was like, okay, we need to keep improving this. And so by now, this will be the 7th trip in March, since we have one in December that's already full. So by the 7th trip, it is very dialed in. It's a beautiful arc. It keeps you in a relaxed pace, but it's fresh, exciting. There's fascinating things you learn at the sacred sites. And there's an arc to your own personal transformation that is really profound. And it provides enough time to deepen in and then open up and then integrate before the trip comes to a close. So it's been very carefully designed as a 10-day initiatory journey that really is filled with magic. So in addition to Puma and Christine, who are both here today, we'll also have with us Dr. Marie Mubuni. This will be, I think, her third or fourth trip. She's a trauma-informed ceremonies and integration facilitator, spiritual guide, and coach. She was raised in West Africa and had some direct experiences with the lineages there, and then that she went into sort of modern medicine, became an anesthesiologist, and then was called into the path of working shamanically with people. So she's a really profound facilitator who facilitates all over the world herself, and she's a medical doctor, so she can offer that sort of medical support and integration that's really helpful. As Puma mentioned, we will have powerful music interludes and activations by local artists, including Wine Paktakin, which is sacred ceremonial songs and music, and Nutu Runas, celebratory fusion folkloric music. They're amazing. And there's at the actual URL, Sacred Peru Journey, you'll see there's more detail on the itinerary because we cover a lot of really important sacred sites in this trip. And Puma, do you want to share a little bit? Are we varying it up a little bit in terms of the March sacred sites? Do you want to share?
We are actually, thanks to angelic suggestion, for most people that are returning back on these trips, perhaps making a slight change to our itinerary to make it extra special to very powerful pre-Incan temples. It is on the works, so it is being prepared. But for sure, the alchemy and the magic of these powerful sounds and music will be present for us. And of course, with our team, with the family, we always make sure that we have the best and most powerful medicine experience, powerful ceremonial experience. We always travel in a sacred way to every place we go, but also in a natural way. The ceremonial way was the natural way. So we bring that as a way for us to be in these places without you even having to think about it. You just suddenly are in a sacred space, and you be the best of who you want to be, opening your heart to these powerful alchemic blessings.
Mm. I realized that I neglected to mention that to my wife and co-founder of the Shift Network, who is also very seasoned, skilled facilitator and is working with psychedelic work as well. Her name is Dava Haley Mitchell, and she's going to be able to join this trip now too, which we just added her yesterday. So you're in very skilled hands. She was just at the most recent trip and just did amazing work with people. So you've got a really all-star cast of faculty and facilitative support for this journey. So the pricing for the entire retreat is $11,997 for single occupancy, or $9,997 for double. And there's also some payment plan options. This is very deluxe on every level. We really create the best environment. I said, let's create the absolute best of Peru. And so it's very beautiful, beautiful hotels. It's beautiful support, meals, everything is really designed. And we also have preparatory work ahead of time, the sessions that help people connect, and then afterwards to integrate, as well as free bonuses and additions. There's a lot of value on this, which is all laid out on the page. One thing to note is that because we limit the number of people because of the size of the group that the space can hold. We want to ensure maximum personal attention, and so there is an application process. We always want to make sure that everybody's medically ready as well. And so there's an application process, and you can do a free information session with Lola, our retreat manager, who not only has done now, I think, 5 of these retreats, but has also been to Peru quite a number of times with Puma before that as well. So Lola is an amazing resource and quite a powerful guide herself. So you can set up a free information session with her to discuss more specific questions. So again, the whole journey is laid out at sacredperujourney.com. And yeah, and so now we can open to some questions. So I guess the best way to do that is going to be in the chat, Jeffrey. So is that correct?
That's correct.
So if you have any questions, just put them into the chat, and then we can have whoever's most appropriate to answer them. I'm not seeing any just yet, and maybe as they're coming. There was one that somebody had wanted to address earlier. It was, can you share more about the connection of sound frequency and the ancestral plant medicines?
Yes. So, especially because of the powerful senses being activated with the master plants, these sacred sounds are precisely a more elaborate, a more powerful presence in our ceremonies. We have Icaros, which are sacred whistlings. We use instruments. We have songs. We have sacred prayers that open up portals. And through these portals arrive cosmic allies, spirit allies, ancestral allies. They're all what we call doctors. They're coming into the ceremony to support each person in the infinity of processes that can come up for each person. So really, when we're in ceremony through these sacred sounds, we call in a lot of powerful spiritual forces to help us in our visions, to help us in our healing, to help us in our integration process also. Sometimes we're able to see processes in the family, but it's either a little bit hazy or a little bit abstract, and suddenly an instrument, suddenly a song, suddenly a sound can make that very sharp and very colorful and very clear. So the sounds for us are sacred allies in our ceremonial work, especially when we're working with ayahuasca and also when we're working with San Pedrito. We have these sacred sounds that we receive from Mother Nature, we receive from our alchemical musicians, and these powerful instruments. So we're always downloading new information, new visions, powerful medicine from the cosmos, just thanks to these sacred sounds. So we have a way, we have an art of using these sacred sounds in ceremony with these master plans that has been, that has lived for thousands of years.
Great. I'd see another question about the pricing. So the pricing we did mention there are discounts happening right now, and so the normal pricing is $9,997 for double, or 2,000 more for the single occupancy. And I think it's $1,250 off right now. I don't have that in my script, so maybe Lola, you can let me know in the chat what we're at right now. And yeah, and then there's another question that I had here, just it's very common about can I attend the retreat if I do not want to imbibe the plant medicines ayahuasca and or wachuma?
So I like for people to feel free. So even though it's an essential part of our journeys, we make the plant experience, the plant medicine experience, optional. So people get to choose whether they want to, participate in the plant ceremonies or not. They can still be in the sacred space. They can still experience the sounds. They can still experience the ceremonies without participating in the drinking of these plant medicines.
Great. Anything we want to share more about the application process, Puma?
We want to make sure that we always look at the medical processes, especially because we're going to be working with the plants that work on the physical body, and there are some limitations for some people, given the altitude or given the history of digestive or breathing processes. No, we always look into it very carefully, so that because we have very precious moments to receive miraculous healing of the plants, we want to make sure that that process becomes the most gentle possible. Where some other processes need a treatment and they need a longer time process. So for that reason, we always look into the medical history, into the physical, emotional, and psychological processes that people have been going through. So we look at that into it very carefully, because it really determines not only the personal experience, but it also determines the process of the whole family that we're together in these sacred ceremonies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's worth noting that we really just want to prioritize safety for everyone, and so that's part of what people have really turned to us, is this is a safe way to really have a good community, psychological, spiritual support, and to be able to participate in ancient ceremonial medicine traditions in a way that really is well supported, and that also works with where people are in their own journey, physically or psychologically or spiritually. So that's part of our intention, is to just create an incredibly safe container. Great. Well, I'm not seeing more. So Lola has posted the connection to the link, sacredperujourney.com. Any other questions that are popping up for people, or I can go into some other areas here if there's no further questions. I think that one thing that kind of, I think, comes up. Yeah, so actually, Lola, yeah, maybe we could share a little bit more about Christine, that some of the elements that you're going to be bringing to this special trip.
Sure. Well, I appreciated the person who asked about the sounds in terms of the plant medicine. I was thinking how for 12 years I sang in Lakota Inipi ceremonies, and how important the songs are to be always listening to Creator, to Wakantanka. The songs carry our prayers, the songs, we feel them in our heart. It's the language that's out of the brain into the heart. And it's so important to have that space held through music to help you integrate. You know, I think that's a really important piece of traveling is, you know, they say that 1 day equals 3 days when you travel. So you're really getting a 30-day trip. So I've really felt that to be true when I've traveled all over the world. And I think what I'm bringing is I feel like I've been meant to go to Peru. Like maybe some of you can relate to that feeling that Machu Picchu and this tradition and this land and the music and the living lineage, the shamanic connections have been in my heart for a long time, and it just felt like the right time. And I think that what I hope to bring for you all is just to be very present, to hold that space. I do want to share with you some of the teachings from the sound healing traditions I've studied with native cultures from the Middle East as well, and how that is healing and also ecstatic and community building and helps us dance, as you said. And every time I travel into these cultures, I always find that my soul, I get those soul tears. You guys know what I mean? Like, I'm not crying because I'm sad. I get covered in goosebumps and I'm tearful because of the reunion grief. It's really a psychological principle, which means that I'm being reunited with something that I didn't know my soul was missing. And it's the element, it's the community, it's the dance, it's the songs. And that is the soul medicine. And our nutrition of our spiritual journey is really fed by being directly in those places. So I want to bring you some of the other traditions I carry, certainly the flute and many of my flute students, and how we improvise, how we can play the song of Machu Picchu, which is the melody line of the crags and the lines of its peaks, and how we can really connect to learning songs from Puma and from his community. And we're going to learn them. You know, you're not just going to be entertained. I want us to be feeling it, you know, playing it on your body, maybe shaking those goat hoof rattles that I love that are made there. You know, those are a very interesting wet sound in the percussion world. So just that the elements are so alive in the instruments of this culture. And as a multi-instrumentalist, I love to sing and drum and dance. And so, you know, it's so important to just be able to be in this sacred place. I also bring a passion for ethnobotany, having studied that for the last 6 or 7 years, and I'm excited to bring you some of that knowledge as well.
So exciting. What a blessing to have you on this journey. And Puma, it occurs to me to ask you to share a little bit about your view of these times we're in. I think it can be really helpful because there's a lot of anxiety out in the world about what's happening and what's unfolding in America and elsewhere. And I know you have such a wide angle lens from your tradition of seeing this as this time of a great birthing, of a awakening of consciousness, and also a shedding of what no longer is serving. And so I wonder if you could share a little bit about that and the prophecies around Peru's role in this time.
Thank you. Yes, our ancestral prophets have proclaimed that these times are very powerful times of transition from a humanity that was less and less evolved in every generation to a time when each generation will be more and more evolved than the last. So that just happened recently in the beginning of this millennia, you know, probably in sync with the Mayan calendar around 2012. Powerful changes have happened, and we are living in a new era. Basically, that is what our ancestors have marked for these times, where awakening, powerful transformation, and evolution to this superior consciousness is inevitable. It is happening yes or yes, in some parts in a slow process, and as a global family, as a planetary family, in accelerated ways. That's why there is these plant medicines that are becoming more and more available throughout the planet to participate in that process of transformation. And also, this is why we will see in these times the last of the generation of humanity that was less evolved. So you get to see that, we're that last part of the less evolved leaders, of the less evolved human beings, because the next generations are coming ready for this new era. And all the work that we do in our healing work, in our ceremonies, our prayers, are always to be part of these powerful cosmic programs for the whole planet. So we participate in every way that we can through our own life experience in supporting and assisting this process of evolution and transformation. That's why we say, when you come on these journeys, when you come to these sacred retreats, you are not there for yourself only. You are there for those who are not there. You are there for the family, for the community, for the people that need this powerful medicine, this powerful healing energy. And that way, with every experience, with every healing process we go through in each ceremonies, with the rituals, what we're doing is we're transmitting powerful healing energy to the planet. We are very busy participating in that healing process, in that awakening process. And we don't give any energy at all to the collective fear, to the collective doubt, or to the collective low frequency energy, which is nowadays very strong throughout our planet because of political processes, because of the spiritual processes, because of global processes we're going through. And we always believe that these are the best times for us to come to Peru, because the Holiness Dalai Lama in 2007 said that the energy of the Himalayas have moved to the Andes. And from where it was divine masculine in the Andes, it became divine feminine. So it was like the womb of Mother Earth birthing new human beings. And this energy was going to be here temporarily before it moves, according to the prophecies, towards the North Hemisphere. So probably towards North America, North Europe, all the Northern Hemisphere. And right now, this powerful vortex, this powerful meridian of Mother Earth is active here in this land. So as soon as you touch this land, you already feel, in the air you breathe in, that powerful, awakened, highly evolved, superior consciousness energy. And as you are already experiencing that, you are going through powerful processes of transformation already. So often, all you had to do was just show up here. And then when we go through conscious processes in the way we lead this retreat, after all these awesome journeys we've had, we alchemize this powerful medicine to make it even more efficient, more powerful for the planet, for our family. So a lot of the outcome of these retreats is not only for the people that are in the retreats, but we have experienced long-term powerful benefits in the family that was back home, that didn't come on the retreat. Like, it has changed the lives of even the people who are close, the biological family especially, that are receiving and are benefiting from these powerful medicines. So the Andes is a very powerful vortex right now. It's the best space for us to reconnect with that new humanity, with that new consciousness, with that new era. And every portal, interdimensional portal that our ancestors had left, right now it's open. And it will be open for a certain time more until that energy moves to another part of our planet. Like, our energy moves through different parts of our body. So this is what makes this land unique and powerful in these times. And also that's why it has that magnetic force calling in people from all over the planet so that they can receive this fast awakening, initiations, but at the same time in the most gentle ways, in the most beautiful ways, because we are going through that process throughout the whole planet anyways. That is inevitable. The only difference is we're going through those processes in a traumatic way, in an intense, in a shocking way, and that is very hard on us, very difficult on us, emotionally, psychologically. And what that does ultimately is it's affecting our physical health. And that's why we need healing. Otherwise, we wouldn't need healing. Our nature is to always be well. Whenever we're in communion with Mother Earth, with the powerful cosmic forces, our physical body follows that powerful frequency of absolute well-being. And the only reason why our physical body is affected is because of our emotional, psychological process not being looked after. And that usually is energy work. That usually is release work, transformational work. And that's what here is abundant in every step you take, in every breath you take in.
Beautifully shared. Well, thank you, Puma. And we just have 4 minutes left or so. I'm wondering if, Christine, you might want to play a little something as a blessing, and then Puma can close us out with a prayer.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you for that beautiful answer. And it reminds me the Dalai Lama, who says, "My true religion is kindness," always says, your enlightenment is not for you, it's for all, the benefit of all. So it's beautiful. So I want to offer with this branch flute, just a little moment of reflection to integrate all that we've shared in this call and the beautiful way that we've inspired how different lands, plants, music, culture call to the soul.
Puma?
My prayer will be also with the flute, and this will be a prayer for you to dance your ways out of whatever troubles, worries, tensions, fears into unconditional love, which is the powerful medicine for our planet. Muchas gracias.
Muchas
Blessings.
gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you all for joining and look forward to seeing many of you in Peru. Again, it's all at sacredperujourney.com and you can get applied and you can get your discount of $12.50 till the end of the month and enter into the field of magic. So thank you all. Thank you, Puma and Christine, for being luminous lights